Right, Korr, part two, Korr working title. Because I feel like I got to come up with something better, but I'm not really sure what to come up with yet. So yeah, so this is Cro-Magnon epic graphic novel, comic book thing I'm working on, and this is pretty much the character in the final stage that I've decided on. And I was going to go through some earlier sketches and so forth, give you an idea. But this is basically how he's going to look. This is basically, yeah, he's basically set in terms of how he's going to look now. Um, so here I just have, this is a bunch of just quick sketches. I apologize. A lot of the proportions are bad. There's a lot of mistakes. But I was really just trying to go fast, really just trying to get a feel for what the character might look like, what the world might look like, trying to work out some ideas. Obviously, working out ideas for hand axes here, knife, presumably made out of mammoth tusk. Um, yeah, so just very quick, rough sketches. Um, Trying to get some idea. Well, I'm saying that too much. Working out axe ideas. Again, this is more, as I mentioned before, so this is more kind of the cape look that I really can. I mean, this is not bad. I couldn't really get the cape thing to work, or it just didn't work for me. This is okay. This is better for some reason. I don't know. Is it an anorak? I'm not sure what it is there. Uh, More kind of sketches. Uh, Sketches for potential ideas I was trying to work out for other characters in this world, specifically for members of another tribe. And I was kind of thinking, I was trying to think here of some kind of tattooing, some kind of tribal tattooing. I'm still working on that. I still haven't gotten that. I'm still not entirely happy with that. Haven't gotten that all worked out. But here, just working through some of those ideas. Again, sorry the images are so rough. Yeah, so loose, really unrefined. But again, speed is just really trying to get an idea of what the world might begin to look like. Again, cape, which I didn't like. This is okay. Once more, cape. I just didn't think it was working. It's pretty decent. This is more decent-ish, but the cape looks, I guess it looks costumey. It doesn't really look particularly functional. And one of the characters look pretty, yeah, it's a very practical world. You have to be very practical. Cape seems a little silly. It doesn't seem like it would be really warm enough. This also was probably before I came out. This also was before I started bringing in the hood. Like I said, it's kind of a hoodie situation that he wears. Because I figured you'd want that. You'd be cold. Although maybe they made caps. Something of that sort. Mammoth, kind of beginning to think through very roughly what some of the initial images might look like. Press encounter with a mammoth. Again, very rough. Apologize for all the mistakes. Cape, once more. No, it didn't work. But the basic idea was there. Other tribe, kind of trying cape ideas. Again, trying to work through the tattoos, Korr's wife, and the possible tattooing of the other tribes. So, yeah, so this is really early. These are really just very rough, pretty crude, undeveloped look at, sort of how I blaze through some ideas for this. Some ideas, not everything, of course. And as I said, this I'm pretty sure is pretty much the final look for the character, unless I have some kind of great idea, unless I come up with something else. So what I'm going to be moving on toward now is I'm going to want to start to really get into color situation. Really start beginning to work more on that. Like as I said, I'm going to take it into digital, since it's going to have to be. And just the reality is, and I mean, what's wrong with digital? I mean, what's the big deal? It's going to have to go into a digital format at some point. So I thought I might as well just go ahead and get it done, get into that, and that's a good reason to do the color digitally. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how you like it, and maybe I'll try and include some. Maybe I'll just include some kind of simple watercolors of Korr. But I mean, watercolor can be pretty time consuming. I enjoy it. It's great and all, but yeah, and definitely time consuming. So this, what I thought I'd do pretty quickly this evening. I want to begin building up a bestiary. I want to begin really kind of coming up with some pretty definite ideas about the kind of animal life that Korr will encounter. And this is I'm just calling it a Siberian unicorn here. I guess sort of like a mammoth prehistoric rhinoceros. But I'll have next time I'll prepare better, and I'll have the actual name for you and all that. So what I thought I would do here, a very quick sketch of this kind of guy, and then I was going to take it into. Right, so I was going to use him, right, and some other things, and take him into digital and begin looking at a color test. So, yes, I guess one question that's going to come up here is how much to do with the pencils and how much of this to do digitally. It will say time, and time is a factor with these things. The amount of time graphic novels take, the amount of time comic books take, it's just ridiculous. But other forms of entertainment are like that. The television series that you just blaze through, that you just completely tear through, what you binge watch, it takes months and months. It takes so much time to do those few hours of television, right? And you just blaze through them. But so it goes. Such is life. So it takes a long time to do, or take a reasonable, pretty decent amount of time to do a lot of these pages, and then you'll blaze through them, which of course is what I would like. Yeah, I mean that's what I'd like you to do. I'd appreciate you checking it out and blazing through them. So what I'm also probably going to begin moving into is I'll probably once I do some of the color things, and I'm relatively happy with that, and maybe even before that, I want to begin going ahead and kind of laying out the first few pages, the first, I guess, sort of introductory sequence. I have that pretty well worked out in my head, but yeah, I'm gonna look at how to do it. So one thing that really comes up when in doing something like Korr, doing something like, as I said, I hate drawing. I really like being outside, and I hate drawing. Well, I don't hate, but I didn't really want to do interiors. I didn't really want to spend time drawing cities and cars and whatnot, because I like nature, and I really like being outside. Desperately, really like being outside a lot. And so, yeah, I guess it's pretty obvious that, like, and as I think maybe I said, I'm pretty jealous of this kind of world. I really would like to have seen it. So, but here, like, one of the challenges is going to be, I think the temptation is to get all kind of National Geographic with this. The temptation is to make this kind of, I guess, almost an academic exercise where you're sort of trying to recreate, and naturalistically, you're really kind of looking for, like, well, let me show you what this world was like, or let me show you what uh, human prehistory was like. And I'm kind of, yeah, and I like that, but then like you end up like, well, it's like the mammoth, right? You have to draw. Are you going to be drawing every hair on that mammoth? Or are you going to be drawing every? Because that's going to take a long time, and also it may not look that great. So this is really more of a rough sketch, and then I'm going to take it into digital and see what can be done with it. So here I'm not too. Yeah, I don't want to spend the time trying to work like, as you can see. Yeah, is it going to be necessary to draw every hair follicle for this beastie? Yeah, and if it works, I mean, if it looks good, then that's fine. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think it works that well. Sometimes and I'm not really entirely sure why. I do want Korr to be probably pretty stylized, honestly. I'm not really all that interested in doing something really naturalistic. So Korr is kind of a confusing, it's kind of a confusing combination of desires. On the one hand, on the one hand, I want it to be really primitive. I want it to be very naturalistic in that sense, right? There's not any magic. There's nothing miraculous. There's nothing science fiction. It really is. The original idea was to strip the adventure story kind of to its core, right? Not meaning that as a play on words, but just to get down to the most basic, or just to get down to seriously basic sort of things. Man, shoot, it's like a lead holder thing. I really wish I had. Let me just make a pitch for this. This is a Right in the Rain mechanical pencil. Man, I love mechanical pencils, but I destroy them, basically freaking all the time. And I basically always need a pencil all day for the work I do. I work on sculpture. I was working on sculpture all today, and this thing has been fantastic. Right in the Rain. It's just a big kind of ugly mechanical pencil, but yeah. I don't think I'm gonna be able to break this one, and man, I break them like freaking all the time, and I don't even really. It's heartbreaking because like a lot of my favorite mechanical pencils that I really like break, and it just drives me nuts. It just drives me freaking insane. So I am Right in the Rain, as far as I'm concerned, is yeah, pretty freaking awesome. Pretty highly recommended. By the way, it's RITE in the Rain. If you want to go check it out. So yeah, so here I also gonna have to see how this looks in color, and this also raises a tough question, like if I make this a manga, which I really like to do. I like manga. I like the format a lot. I like the energy of manga. I like the way it. I'll get more to that in a minute, but yeah. So if I take this into manga, right? How much do I change it from the color version? Because I guess manga has to be in black and white, or I don't know. Is that a law? I'm not sure if that's I guess it wouldn't have to be, but that is what I like about manga. I mean, manga, like, man, the great thing about manga, you can really see, like, they can try things, or they can try things and see what works, and it's not like this huge. It's not such a huge mammoth commitment. And the other great thing about manga is it's just, man, it's so, there's so much variety. There's so many different kinds of manga. I really yeah, I really wish American comic books, which I honestly am not exposed to a lot anymore. I really wish they could be more like manga. Um, in some ways, maybe I don't know. I'm really not. I don't think I know enough really to talk about that. Um, but yeah, talking about what I like in manga. Yeah, man, one of the really cool things about manga, and I think this is absolutely fascinating, is like Western comics. Like it's really like watching people on a stage. It's like you're in the audience and you're kind of watching people in this comic book and they're on stage, or it's very cinematic. Right? It's very much like you're. It's very much like these are films um, done in panels, done on pages, which is pretty cool. Which can be pretty cool. But the really cool thing about manga is, like a lot of times the perspective is I don't know, you're right underneath someone, or like when these crazy characters are kind of charging each other, yelling at each other, you're sort of right in between them, looking up at them, or you're sort of, I don't know, hovering above them suddenly. There's a way that manga really can, it's really impressive. It's really very cool. Like manga really, the perspectives really make you, it's like being in the book. It's like being in the action that's taking place, as opposed to like being a member of an audience watching it, or watching it on a cinema screen. So it's a very cool thing about manga. All right, so yeah, again, here the question becomes like, and I don't even want to work out, like, I mean, I don't want to sit here and make this really detailed pencil drawing, because that would kind of defeat the purpose. I kind of need to know like what, like when we take this into color, um, what kind of level of detail are we going to want? How are we going to handle? Um, yeah, because like, are we like, how much work is the color going to do? And if you have a very, I don't know, if you have a very kind of ridiculous, precise pencil drawing where everything's done, and yeah, then it's a pencil drawing. It's not something set up for color. So consciously, you're trying to be pretty loose and even pretty slovenly, um, because really the object here, this is going to be like a color test, right? I want to take this into um, digital, do color on it, see what I think, see what's working and what's not. So rather than draw all the blades of grass or have this perfectly realized, um, very naturalistic image of this animal that Korr will encounter. Um, yeah, I want it to be pretty rough, even kind of crude, because the purpose of the pencils here is really going to be, I'm really thinking, is to get the basic ideas down. One other thing I'm really going to try, or really want to do, is the pages are going to be pretty huge. I'm thinking at least 18 by 24. I mean, I really want, and this is pretty big, so I really want to be able to work pretty large. I mean, maybe even kind of like to go even bigger than 18 by 24. I don't know. I'll see how that goes with formatting. So anyway, all right. I'm probably going to wrap this up because, as I said, purpose here is to get a pretty rough idea and take this into digital for a color test. I feel like I'm saying that too many times. You're probably getting pretty bored of that, and I don't blame you. Let's also remember, though, that this guy needs to have actual weight. This guy needs to look like something that exists in the real world, and shadows. pretty vital part of that, pretty important part of giving something weight, the illusion of weight, of course. All right, so yeah, coming up, going to get into some color work, going to start sketching out, going to start planning, going to start laying out a plan for the first few pages and so forth, and the first sequence I have in mind. So yeah, so check that out next time. Either a color test or starting work on the first pages for the first sequence, the first sequence, the first kind of the kind of introductory, the tutorial boss, right, the kind of introductory sequence that I want to get into for the opening pages, the introduction of what it is. All right, thanks a million for checking this out. If you have ideas, suggestions, criticisms, yeah, love it. Advice, love to hear what you think. Although there's not that much of the project on the table yet, but coming. So, but more than anything, yeah, I appreciate you checking it out. And yeah, all right. Hope everybody has a great evening, day. Yeah, take care. See you next time.